Hi everyone, my name is Anna Anderson, and this is a recorded session because I did a live class 2 weeks ago on how to build a review-ready delivery workbook using a Chat GPT in Chat GPT Work. And at the end of it, for some reason, it froze. And so some users were not able to see the end of it. So I'm just going to quickly record so that you can just see from the beginning to the end. And if you are not in the school community, join the school community so that you can watch the full video from the beginning to the end. Right now, I want to just explain a couple of things before we continue because it's important for us to understand what we are doing and what we are using. Now, the goal of it, so I'm just going to do a little bit of teaching here before we continue, right? Again, the goal is to how to build a review-ready delivery workbook from approved project information, not just information that you just gather from anywhere. Now, the goal again, as you are doing this, is to make sure that you are validating your work, right? So you are validating your work. You are using sources that are coming from places that are approved within your organization, and you're confirming facts and things like that, and removing any gaps, and also keeping gaps as TBD if you do not know the information. So that's validating. From there on, we're going to build. So the goal is to build a 5-tab workbook, and then it's going to be an interactive dashboard that you can share with leaders and things like that. And then you reuse it going forward with building things like skills, which is a method, and we'll talk about that in detail, where you can also automate your work, which is repeatable processes that you have some type of way where you're not just doing things again, the same thing over and over again from scratch. You have built some type of repeatable process, and then also building sites where leadership can review that information. Now, before we continue, I want to explain a couple of things because a couple of people are just starting to hear this. Now, a lot of us already know ChatGPT, right? We were introduced to ChatGPT a couple of years ago, maybe 4 years ago. This started becoming something that we could all use. Now, ChatGPT again is best if you're using, answers and explanations, you're brainstorming, you're looking for short drafts. You can just type in a quick prompt and it will give you that information. So you can use it to upload your workbook, to ask it to analyze and create files, but there's more that ChatGPT can do. And now OpenAI has also created a new feature as of June 9th, 2026, and it is ChatGPT Work. Now, ChatGPT Work is best if you have some type of clear outcome. So you have a goal. I want to do blank, right? And you have multiple steps, files, tools that you want to connect to your tool. And then you want to get some type of finished deliverable for review, and also you have work that repeats over time, right? So that is ChatGPT Work. It's a new feature. Now, if you're into development and doing a lot of, programming and all that stuff, maybe Codex is best for you. So Codex, again, is best for, software and code bases and things like that, things like scripts, testing, all that kind of stuff. But today we are mostly going to use ChatGPT Work, which is a new feature for ChatGPT. Okay. So now let's continue here again. Why we do this? Now, you want to make sure that you're choosing the model and reasoning level intentionally. Don't just go out there and choose any model and things like that. For our training today, we are going to use the ChatGPT Terra Medium, and I'll show you how you can change that, because by default, maybe you get the Sol version, or maybe you get the Luna version and things like that. But today we are going to get use the 5.6 Terra plus model. Again, this one is it has a practical balance for planning and things like we're going to be doing today. You can, if you want to just do maybe daily routine stuffs and things like that, maybe you can use 5.6 Luna. And then if complex things, maybe you can, again, the suggested one is 5.6. So we're not going to get into detail, but I also want to make sure that you understand that it is a credit thing. So again, credits are going to vary by model. So if you're using the highest model, your credits are going to be chewed up. So again, make sure you're paying attention to the model that you're using because of credits, the context, the file size, all that stuff that you want to make sure that you are using. Now, again, couple of things before we start. We are going to be using a practical, or rather a fictional project here. So we're going to be doing a fictional project, and the goal is to just make sure, hold on here quick. I don't know. I'm doing this in front of you guys, but it was bothering me. It didn't have the T. Now we're going to use a practical project. This is digitizing project records for a health clinic. We have a couple of work streams, approved controls, information, and things like that. And this is how the project is going to be. So I'm just going to drag this here so that you can see the whole project source information, how it looks. Now, the source information, again, this is all that's in the project. It's a very detailed workbook. But if your organization, maybe you have maybe ChatGPT Enterprise and things like that, and your organization has approved it as a platform that you can use for things like this, maybe you can plug in and have your sources connected to ChatGPT so that it knows your information. Outside of that, if not, you can upload. Again, before you do any of these things and upload company information into platforms like ChatGPT, ChatGPT Work and things like that, you want to make sure that you're asking and checking with your system administrator or your organization's rules and governance before again you start uploading information. Don't go uploading information that is not being approved. But for the purposes of this, let's assume you have and you're using ChatGPT for that. Now, I also want to share that if you already have platforms like Copilot within your organization, you can obviously use that. So definitely you can use the prompts that I'm going to give you in creating whatever it is that we're going to build in Copilot, because I know a lot of organizations probably already have Microsoft 365 embedded into their platform. So all you have to do is just connect some of these sources and stuff. Now you can use things like maybe Copilot Studio and things like that. Again, make sure that you're checking with your organization if that's okay. But this is what we're going to be using today for the purposes of this training. This is the source that we're going to use. It's again a workbook for this digitizing project records for health clinic. You can see the project scope, the charter in detail, the stakeholder register. Again, no names, just by role. So that's why maybe you'll see when we build it, it will not have names. The budget, again, this is a 6-week project with a budget of $50,000. The communication, the risk register, the WBS, which is a work breakdown structure for those of you who don't know what a WBS stands for. And then we just have a bunch of other, other tools as well. Okay, so I don't know why I did that. Let me close that. It's not letting me go farther than this, but you can see what I'm talking about. WBS, we have a RACI chart, who's responsible, who's accountable, who needs to be consulted, who needs to be informed. And then we even have a dev QA design document, QA test scripts, and all that stuff. So you can see this is very, very detailed. It's probably not something that you even want to give your leadership. So that's what we are going to be doing today, and we are going to be using ChatGPT Work for that. Again, obviously you can use ChatGPT if you want, but this is if you are just using ChatGPT Work, which is a new feature. All right, so what we're going to do again, that was the approved information, which is again the document that I just shared with you guys. It's right here. And I'm going to just close it because sometimes when you're trying to upload documents, they will not let you do that. Okay, so here is ChatGPT right here. Again, you can see up here we have chat and we have work. Usually also maybe you have codex right here. So you have those three. But today we are going to use work for that. Okay, now you can see it's tied there. Now, as you can see now, I'd already built a project. So what you do is you go into, I'm just going to open my sidebar, and you go into project and you create a project like that. So that's what we'll do. You open it and you create the project, as you can see. Now, you'll turn it into work, but obviously if you want, you can do everything in chat and then take everything that you built and put it into work and just do one big prompt, but I'm just going to use work as it is. Okay. Now, this is what I meant when I said the specific model. So you want to select a model. I'm going to select the 5.6 Terra Medium, but there's definitely many other models that you can use, but I'm preferring Terra Medium for this. 5.6, if you're doing complex things like that. Plus, you also want to make sure that it's not chewing up all your credits. That's just something you want to pay attention to. Now, you have here chat, and also you have your sources. Now, if you have your sources, this is where you're going to add your sources. For us, we are going to add that Excel document. Maybe for you, you want to add maybe Google Docs, maybe have it connected to your Slack, your Teams, your SharePoint site, whatever it is. It's important for you to link your sources because you wanted to use your sources, your approved sources, your sources within your organization or within the project that you're working on, not outside information, not anything from the internet, just your sources that you have within your organization. That's what you want to do. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and click add sources. I just want to make sure something here. Okay, I'm just going to add my source. And if it doesn't let me, I'm going to close this for now because sometimes when you want to upload, it won't let you. So I'm going to just add a source right here, and I'm just going to upload. So again, you can see from a library, from Slack, from Teams, and many other platforms as well, the way you want it to do. So it is right here, it's project details, and right there I've added my source. So as it is uploading and adding that information, feel free to, again, at the end of or in the comments, ask any questions that you may have. Now we're going to put in our first prompt, and I'm just going to copy paste that first prompt so that you guys can see here. Give me 1 second as it prompts, as I grab it. Now, when you're adding prompts, you want to make sure that your prompt is as detailed as possible. Obviously, don't come in here and say, write for me as a status report. That is not a detailed prompt. You want to make sure it's as detailed as possible. And a prompt is something, one of those things that you can continuously iterate, not just once. So before, again, I build a workbook, I want to, make sure that I have a good prompt. Again, before I build it also, I want to make sure that I have the correct source of information. So you guys remember I added that document in there. So that is the correct source. Okay. Now this is the first control point because I am just asking and I'm saying I'm preparing a cross-function delivery plan for this project. Use only, so that's very specific, use only the approved fictional project details workbook attached. Do not search unrelated content and use the request patient level information. This is the project details and the budget. And then you're going to go ahead. These calendar dates supersede the workbook's general 6-week duration, and all that stuff. Before building anything, give me a concise source review covering maybe confirmed facts, decisions, honors, milestones, top resources, and everything. Cite the workbook tab for material items because, again, just use the information in the tab. Don't go anywhere else. Use only the information I've given to you. Or if maybe you're giving it access to your Slack and everything, tell it that specifically. Okay. Separate confirmed facts from assumptions. Treat all conflicts, missing honors, and unresolved information as TBD. Don't start adding maybe names that you have no idea who they are. Do not invent the names or the dates, honors, decisions, requirements, scope, or commitments. Stop after the review so that I can validate. You see what I'm talking about? I want you to validate. So we're going to do that. And as that is cooking, I want you to make sure, again, you are the final person who is approving whatever it is that the tool is building, not anything else. Now, it's telling me here, hey, I'll review the approved workbook only because it's paying attention to my request, reconcile its timing to the fixed dates that I've given it, and flag anything unresolved as TBD. I'm using the spreadsheet workflow as the source review stays traceable to each workbook. Okay, so we'll let that cook for a little bit, and it only took us 33 seconds, you guys. 33 seconds. That's pretty good. Sometimes I've tested this before and it's taken me more than 3 minutes and stuff like that. Sometimes even take 7 minutes. So that's good. That it's given us within 33 seconds. But this is what it's telling me because of my prompt. It has confirmed a couple of facts. It's told me, hey, this is a project objective, the approved controls, the workbook. I've told it, remember we said it's 50K, and we told it the timeline for the project. It listed deliverables, key project roles, and stuff like that. If you remember when you saw the project details, this is what was in there and things like that. And then it told me a couple of things. Obviously, I told it if there's nothing, just put TBD. And then honors, I've done it by role, not by name. So project owner, project manager, BA and all that stuff. Milestones, top risks, sources and information. Oh, it's still even writing. Any missing information, it's told me, hey, we have you're missing named project manager, detailed requirements and all that stuff. It's telling me just additional things that it's missing. That's all I want it to do. Okay. Now, this next prompt is more detailed because I'm asking for a real deliverable. And I'm going to put in a very long prompt because I'm telling it how many tabs to create, because the other one, remember, it has more than 10 tabs. So I'm telling it how many tabs I wanted to create, what the dashboard should show, what statuses to use, and also what needs to remain editable, and also where you as a human, you come in to approve anything. So this is the prompt. Let me just copy it here, and then I'm going to paste it here. And then we'll go through it together. There it is. All right. So this is the second prompt that I've added in here. Okay, it's kind of long, but we're just going to read it through very quickly. Now it says, using the approved project details workbook and the validated source, review in this conversation, create a review-ready Excel workbook for digitizing patient records for health clinic. Do not use or include patient-level information. Okay, project controls. Again, this is the timeline, the budget, preserve IDs and source tab references, mark unsupported information with TBD, don't invent, okay? Create 5 tabs only. The other one had 10 plus. So I'm asking just, hey, I just want an executive dashboard, a delivery plan, people and communication, project log and all that stuff. And then I'm telling it what I want the executive dashboard to look like. Right? So executive dashboard, make tab 1 a clean, colorful leadership first dashboard, not a detailed plan. Use a provisionally navy, blue, gold, green, red, and whatever it is that you want to do. Include reporting dashboards and audiences indicators, 6 concise KPI cards, dynamic delivery status, a visual Gantt for that specific timeline, budget summary, status legends, and all that stuff. If I want to add anything else, I'll just have to highlight in here and add additional information with text or whatever that I want to do. So if I want to do that, I can just type in there as well, as you can see. Just highlight whatever it is that you want to type. Status legend, maybe, and make sure the charts are at the top of the executive dashboard, okay? And interactive. Okay, so I just highlighted so that again, it could give me that. Now, place the editable status drop down beside each milestone because that I can drop down and see, hey, which one is started, which is blocked and all that stuff. Those dashboard selections must update the KPI cards, charts, Gantt colors, and corresponding delivery status. So that if something is green, it turns green and all that stuff. Use formulas, linked ranges, data validation, working tabs and controls. Keep detailed work honors, TBD, and all that stuff. Use the same status drop downs on other editable work, fields. Human approval is required for compliance, user testing, and all that stuff. Quality checks, all this stuff for quality checks. Return the draft workbook and a short list of items requiring a review. Do not edit or anything like that. So that was a kind of long prompt, but it's very detailed and it's very precise of what exactly I need ChatGPT Work to do for me. Okay. All right. As that is building, I want to just also talk about a couple of things because the executive dashboard is what maybe you're going to be sharing with your leadership because they want to be able to see what it is that your project and the progress of your project looks like. Now, you can see here, it tells me I'll turn the validated source review into a 5 tab because that's the instructions I gave it, and link status controls and executive reporting. And I'm also using the file delivery workflow. So the completed workbook is available to you as a reusable artifact. That's actually very, very important because if it's telling me it wants to create something that I can reuse, that's actually pretty good. I want something I can reuse over and over again, and I'm not creating something from scratch every single time. So let's give it a minute for it to create that, and then we'll see how it comes out. Now, I want to also share a couple of things as this one is cooking, because the dashboard is not meant to replace the detailed plan. That's very, very important for us to know. It is there so that leadership can quickly understand the story of your project. Are we on track? Are we behind? Are we in front? What is being blocked? What is in progress? What decisions or risks need my attention or you as a project team, your attention? What is even coming up next? Okay. The detailed work still lives on the other tabs. So you want to separate again the executive dashboard because again, leaders, they are in multiple meetings. They don't have time to go into the nitty-gritty of your project. The delivery plan is going to show things like the milestones, the dependencies, the dates, the honors, people communication shows who needs to be involved, things like that. But again, make sure things like your executive dashboard, if that's the plan for you, it's for you to just share with your leadership high level information, maybe where places where they can ask quick questions or provide some type of support if you need one. Now, before again, the workbook, again, it's still cooking. You want to make sure, again, you're checking a couple of things based on the prompt that it gave you. Did it give you those 5 tabs that it promised you? Whatever it is that you asked it to do, make sure that it's giving you that correct information so that it's not hallucinating or picking up information from anywhere. So let's give it a couple of maybe 3 more minutes, hopefully, and it will give us details, the detailed project plan. So that took 5 minutes and 55 seconds, almost 6 minutes for this. And as I said, sometimes depending on the sources of your information, it could take longer for this information to come up. So it will give us a preview of what it has built. And let's see on the side here what it has built for us. So give it a second as it's preparing that work view. But it's telling us, hey, your work view is ready. You guys, look at this. From that one document that I shared earlier, and I'll just upload it here quick so that we can quickly see it. Okay. And I'll just drag it over. Okay, it's right here. Yeah, so this is what we had earlier, right? This is what we had earlier for our tabs and things like that. And I'm just gonna make it smaller because it is not letting me. This is what we had earlier, okay? We had the project scope, the charter, and I'm not saying this is bad. I'm just saying I wanted some type of executive dashboard that I can share with my leaders. And this is what I had. This is mostly for my project team, okay? But if I want something I can share with my leaders, this is what it has built. So I'm just going to download it so that we can see it clearly. Oops. I'm just going to download it so that I can make it even bigger. Give me 1 second as it is cooking. Okay. So it is coming. So give it a second. Okay. So here it is. This is how now it looks. I really, really love it, you guys. I don't know about you guys, but I really love it. It's right here. It gives us a source, and I'm just going to enable editing so it's easier for me to maybe change whatever it is that I want to change. I'm going to close that. Executive status, let's T so that we can see everything. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Reporting period. It's telling me between this time, this is my audience. Steering committee. If I want maybe my leadership team, I'll change that. If I want maybe just my leadership, I'll change that. But now it's telling me just that. It's giving me we have 5 milestones. So because it's giving me 5 milestones, and you can see here those 5 milestones, right? And if I want, I can go in here and change whatever it is I want to change. Like, hey, where are we at? Are we in progress in terms of our milestones, or have we completed one milestone? Because the goal is, again, for us to see any updates it does to our milestone status and things like that. Okay, maybe we're in progress in another one. So that stuff is what I want to be able to see as I continue with my progress. So you can see, hey, we have 5 things are complete and things like that. We want it interactive and stuff. These are the milestones again. So we can check and see where we are at with it. For example, this is the first milestone. This is the budget summary and stuff like that, and where we are to the summary. So you can always just expand some of this so that you can see. And if you're feeling like, hey, maybe I don't have everything that I needed, go back to your prompt, change it, add whatever it is that you want to your prompts, that again, it can improve your dashboard. It can improve your information for your leadership. Go back and change that. That doesn't mean that you should just leave it like that or you use this. This is not where you, as a human, you come in to make any updates. We feel this is crowded, go back to your prompt and change it. But this is a great start where we can start from, where we can see how to make any changes and things like that. So this, again, the delivery plan that it's giving us, any information, additional information. This is the communication section. Hey, this is maybe our roles and accountability, our communication plan. This is our project log. This is our testing launch. But then again, I'm looking mostly at the executive dashboard, and then it's again a platform where, or rather a space where you can go ahead and change. As you can see, this is our detailed Gantt right here. You can see where the project is at. If maybe something is in progress, again, it will show stuff is in progress. If it's not, maybe something that's not started, it will show that as well, so that you can just see that too. Okay, so this is, again, a great dashboard. I like it. I feel like it still needs a little bit of improvement, but it's a start for you as a project manager to start creating the details for your project. Right? Okay, so now that that is done, we want to now create an interactive project site. Because the interactive project site, again, in the same conversation, is something that will provide something interactive, something that they can, make any additional changes to, or that they can see in real time how things are changing. So I'm going to type in here, or rather paste in here, a prompt that will build an interactive site. Now, sites take a little bit of time to build because, again, they're sites, but we'll try and do that. Now, when you're creating a site, I'll just close this so that we are not, it's not there. You'll start with the word at, okay, at sites, right? This. So you'll make sure, again, you put the word at, like the sign at, and it will tell you what it is that you're doing. So we already did that in the prompt. And at sites, because at site, again, a site is going to create for you some type of HTML that you can do. Now, the only thing with sites, though, is if your organization is not tied to ChatGPT, maybe enterprise or ChatGPT, whatever it is, within your organization, it's not something you can just download and send it. You'll have to give them the link, and it will have the ChatGPT words in the link. I think they're still working on a way where you can just make it easier for it to maybe match your organization. I think that's still in the works, but for now, just FYI. So create sites, create an interactive executive project progress website for this project. Use only the approved fictional project information, details, and validated source. Sorry, my daughter came in and I was like, who is that? So that's why I looked on the side. So I apologize for that. Okay, so then you go ahead and show the approved project controls, make the high level progress easy to understand, overall health and all that stuff. Use the standard statuses, not started, in progress, blocked, and everything. If a viewer changes a milestone status, update the visible progress metrics immediately. Use the plain language and clean, responsive, accessible information and all that stuff. Do not include any information. Do not invent missing information. Again, I'm being very, very clear about my guardrails. Test the main navigation and everything. Show me the reviewed preview and a short list of items required for my approval before publishing. So we'll do that. Again, this is probably going to take a little bit, just like the project workbook took, but maybe again another 5 to 7 minutes, just like the project workbook took. But for the project workbook, I want to come back to that as this is cooking. Clearly, it is a start for you, but you want to add additional information to make it even more interactive, more visible to your leaders. So if you feel there's additional information that you want, go back to the prompt, add additional information, just a line or two, so that again, it can go back and fix that, okay? So you can add a line or two into that, just to make sure, again, it's meeting whatever it is that you are trying to share as a project manager. Now, again, this is going to be a repeatable process going forward. In the beginning, it's going to take a little bit of while because as you're seeing, it's taking us 5 minutes, 7 minutes, and things like that. But going forward, after you've built it, it's now iterating and improving. And that's what becomes automation. And that's what becomes, you using your skill, or you can even input a skill, which we'll do right after this, to create a method process of doing stuff. So let's give this a couple of minutes, and then when we see the sites, we'll move on to skills. Okay. Right. So now it's still taking a little bit of time. So, yeah, so it took a little bit of time, but you can see here it says I'm using the site's workflow to build and test an interactive draft-only progress site and all that stuff. But you want to make sure that you allow for this chat. So ChatGPT or the ChatGPT Work will say allow ChatGPT to preview your site. ChatGPT will use the cloud browser to view and interact with the version you're building before it does it. So you want to make sure that you allow for this chat. Again, that's good because it's asking you a question so that it's not just going ahead and building whatever. So as you can see on the side here from the browser perspective, you can see how it's probably going to look like. It's not going to give us anything yet. Even if I click on it, it won't give us that preview. But you can quickly see from the side here what it's doing. It's building an interactive digitizing project records for health clinic site, or rather kind of like a website that you can share with your leadership. You and your team can view to see. You can click anything and again, it's interactive and it can build or rather show you progress and stuff like that. So you can see here what it's doing. It's building on the cloud browser so that you can see it. Again, quick thing, you cannot just download it and share. For now, you'll probably have to share the link and it will have the ChatGPT wording in it. I think ChatGPT has said they are working on a way to make sure that you can just download it to your organization, especially if you already connected or plugged into, or rather you've let it plug into your system. So we'll let it just finish a little bit and then we'll view that here quick. Okay. So here it's telling me what it's done. It's telling me the reviewed draft site is ready on the chat preview, as you can see here, and stuff like that, and where it's accessible. And it's telling us what it's did, a couple of items that need your approval before publishing. So let's just see how it looks like here. Okay, so this is live. This is probably how it looked like. So as you remember when I told you guys this is how the browser is going to look like, but you can see from a preview perspective, that's how it looks like for now. And if I want, I can just share with my leadership where the project is at. Obviously, it's still in preview mode and things like that. But as you can see, it's telling me this is the project timeline, the date, it's in progress, 20% complete, what a couple of things, the project control board and things like that. So this is like a preview. And if you want to continue, you're just going to continuously click on it and things like that, so that it can give you a full interactive dashboard. So it's told you, okay, these are the risks, items that need validation, and then the decision queue. At the bottom, it specifically tells you that, hey, human approval gates, compliance, user training, material changes, anything that needs a human is there. But from a preview perspective, I think this looks wonderful. It's a live dashboard that we can use so that we can start sharing with our leaders. Okay. I think if I go back and start asking it now to continuously build, it's going to take a little bit of more time. So I'm just going to leave that there for now so that we can just continue with this. Now, the next thing that I want to share with you before we finish this is now turning your tested method into a skill. Now, again, a skill is pretty much a method, right? A skill is a reusable method, something you can use over and over again, because the goal of it is that it can remember the source rules, things like checks that you can have, status definitions, human approval, boundaries, and things like that. So I'm going to paste in here again for you to create for us a skill. Again, remember when you're creating something, you have to use the @ sign. So again, we're going to use the @ skills. Remember we used what is it called? @ sites. Now we're going to use @ skills for that as well. Okay, and we'll put these links in the recordings so that you can just see how it looks like, and you can create for yourself. Now we're gonna build again repeatable skill and things like that. You'll say @ skill creator, create a skill named project delivery workbook. Use the workflow we tested in the conversation as the model. Purpose, the goal of it is to help a project manager review approved project sources, validate facts, and all that stuff. The skill must use only, again, you want to make sure you're being very, very clear. Okay, never request. Again, this is something if you feel like maybe you want to change, you just go in here and start typing. Separate confirmed facts and all that stuff. So I'm not going to read through all that stuff. And then it also says include 2 modes, build mode for creating the workbook and a weekly review mode and all that stuff. So let us create that skill. It's probably going to take another 5 minutes, but think about it this way. If you are doing this in real life, it will probably take you like a longer time than even 5 minutes. So it's okay to even like be patient for 5 minutes, because there are people after they're used to this, like, why is he not doing this so quickly? Guys, be patient. Again, you're building this once. Now going forward, it's not going to take you this long, but it's going to require you maybe add additional guardrails, additional prompts, additional information, and things like that. Okay. Now, you can use all of these things in ChatGPT. You can use this in Copilot. Now, Copilot, they don't have the same art skills at site. So maybe you can just tell them, create for me an interactive site or something like that, because it doesn't have the same capability and backend information and training that ChatGPT has. Okay, so that's just one caveat for that as you're building this in platforms like Copilot and stuff. Okay, that did not take us long. It only took us a minute 59 seconds, which almost 2 minutes. Actually, I really like that. That's not a very, very long time. Now, it will build you a skill and it will save it as your skill MD, which is MD stands for Markdown. So that's where it is. And it will tell you, hey, opening skill. So your skill is created, it's validated and installed and all that stuff. It includes build mode and all that stuff. And that's what the skill is. To test it with the clinic project, use this and use the project delivery workbook review in build mode. Use only the attached. Again, you're telling it what to do. You've told it how to test it. Again, the weekly. If it does not appear immediately in your skills list, refresh the skills page. So I'm going to go into the skills. I'm going to open my skills and I'm going to review it there. Okay. Now, where you're going to see your skills, this is again what we did for the skills. This is the information we put in there. Now we're going to open it in skills. And the way you open it in skills is by going into your skills tab on your ChatGPT. Like this, you go into your skills tab, and all my skills are going to show up. So the way you go into skills is, let's just click first. Okay, so right here is the skill itself. Okay, now I've created a project delivery workbook review. These are all the skills I've created for this. And the way you get into your skills is you open your browser, you go into plugins like that, and then you'll see your skills. So these are all my skills. This is the plugins. Plugins is where you can plug in and attach it to any, connect it to maybe your Gmail, your GitHub, and all that stuff. That's your plugin. And then your skills is what you create. Now, this is going to be a repeatable skill going forward. And if you want to create just a skill, you can even just click plus sign and you can create a skill from here. Okay, so that's what we did so far from that. Okay, we're going to go back into our project right here just so that we can be on the same page, and also for the sake of time. And the last thing I want to show you guys is creating an automation. Now, what's an automation? Majority of the time we do things manually, but the goal for automating again is to save time. So now you can automate something so that you can have some type of cadence and start and finish. Now, the skill is going to define the method, right? The approved sources and stuff like that. The automation in this case defines when it's going to run. So you can say, hey, run this on Fridays at noon Central Standard Time, whatever it is, So we're going to put in a prompt here so that you can automate and have some type of automation with this. And this is the prompt we are going to put in here for that. Now, obviously, I want you to test this on your own. Do follow these steps step by step. Test it on your own so that you can have a full output after this. Okay. Obviously, because of time, because again, it takes a long time to just cook and cook and cook. We can't sit here waiting. That's why I want you guys to use. I'll share all these prompts, and you can use it. And because these prompts are tailored to the digitizing project records, replace that digitizing health clinic records with your own project, with what it is that you are building. Now, here's the automation part. We're going to say, schedule a tested weekly review mode workflow to run every Friday at this time, and also specify the time zone in this current chat, or if it's noon Central Standard Time. Use only the approved fictional project details workbook and approved executive dashboard workbook available for this project. Compare against the prior review run. Do not access patient level information. Confirm task name and everything. Now, if anything changes on the source of information, any update or any automated update is going to change again. So that's the goal. So let's say your sources are maybe your Slack channel or your Teams channel and the workbook and SharePoint, whatever. Anything that's going to be changed because you've plugged in, you've connected to those platforms. Anything that changes and you runs at 3 p.m., on a Friday for your starters or whatever it is, that is going to be updated. So that is the goal. Obviously, you have to review. You have to approve. You have to ask questions if something doesn't sound right? But it's going to save you time. Okay? So it's going to use the skill now to build some type of automation. Okay. Yeah. So then once it's open, we're going to check the scheduled workbook. What was I saying? It couldn't create because your plan already. Okay. I already had created one before. So you can see that's what's happening. I already created one before. So we'll just go into those automations and see it and stuff like that. So that's that. Yeah. I already have my plan that I have already has 5 skills that I've already created. So we'll just go to those automations and we can see where they are. So give me 1 second. We have scheduled right here, and I'd already created one for the last class. That's why. So I'll probably need to remove that from there so that you can see, and it's right here. Yeah. And it's supposed to run every 5 days. Every 5 days it's supposed to run and give me information. So this is why, it did that. Now it tells me here, no meaningful information changes and stuff like that. If I maybe made any change to it, all I have to do is go in here and run now. Okay, so that it gives me additional information. I haven't changed anything since that time, so that's why nothing is going to change and stuff like that. Maybe let's just run now. But if I'm running now it's going to, give me that specific update. Okay, so yeah, As you can see live, you only, depending on your plan, you can only have up to 5 skills and things like that. And what are the 5 scheduled items? And that's what you saw there. But I'd already created one before, so you can use that as your as your source and stuff. Now, a quick recap. Let's recap what we did. We started with approved project information, which was that Excel document that had 10 plus tabs and not a blank script. We told AI to, exactly what it could use, what it could not use, and not assume anything and things like that. So before again, what it could do. And here it just gave us, before I go about our recap, let's look at what it told us here. I need the approved current dashboard. So it doesn't have that. Anyway, you get the point, because now it doesn't have any additional information. That's why. And this is very good that it's telling me this. It's not hallucinating any additional information. It's just telling me I don't have any information. I need the current approved weekly dashboard so that I can complete review and all that stuff, which I like and I really like. Now, please attach it. Tell me to attach that information. So obviously I don't have it with me right now. That's why I can't provide that. But I like that. I like that it told me that. Okay. Now we also reviewed the source information, and I'm just gonna open my project here just so that we can see it and stuff. Okay. So I'm gonna open it here so that we can go back to our project, because again, that is under project. So we reviewed the source, separating confirmed information from gaps and anything like that, any conflicts. We also checked and dashboard information. AI again can help you organize, can help you do a lot of other things and things like that. But you as a project manager, please make sure you're reviewing. It's your judgment, confirm facts, confirm any gaps and everything. Right? Now, if you want to go deeper, obviously, this is just the beginning. We're just scaling the surface. But if you want to go deeper into building practical AI workflows for, planning, for sales reporting, for raid logs and stuff like that, I do have a session next in a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks. Come join me so that we can, continuously learn, continuously build, continuously use AI. Now, when you hear people say AI is going to replace smart project managers, it's not going to replace you, because you still need your judgment and your leadership and stuff like that. But project managers who probably don't know how to use AI, and if your organization is starting to embed AI into their platforms, it's important for you to start learning how to do some of these things so that you are also ahead of the curve. I hope that was helpful. I hope that, helped you at least understand how you can use this for now. We'll see you in the next video. But before we go, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Make sure also that you subscribe to my Spotify channel, and also join the school community so that you are up to date on any events that come up pretty soon.